We're glad to have you here tonight.
Well, I'm glad to be joining you. How are you today?
Great. And yourself?
Not bad at all. I'm having a good day. It's been a good week.
Listen, you're in a very, let's just say there are not too many people that love the fact that you have an alternative opinion. First and foremost, you're an African-American. You're supposed to be Democrat, right?
That's what everyone keeps telling me.
Yeah. And so just recently we got the opinion, the legal opinion of the great governor of your state regarding those people who have, you people who have a differing opinion of how things should go. The first and foremost, he is not one who hides his opinion too well. This is him back in 2013, about the same part of the year, January, on his thoughts about people like you and guns.
I know that the issue of gun control is hard. I know it's political. I know it's controversial. But we are proposing today common sense measures. And I say to you, forget the extremists. It's simple. No one hunts with an assault rifle. No one needs 10 bullets to kill a deer. And too many innocent people have died already. And the madness now. Pass safe, reasonable gun control in the state of New York. Make this state safer. Save lives. Set an example for the rest of the nation. Let them look at New York and say, this is what you can do, and this is what you should do. This is New York, the progressive capital. You show them how we lead.
Well, they were led down the christened road towards stronger gun control. And then just recently, just recently, go right ahead.
Because there has to be something said about that. The first thing and the most important thing, everything he said about the New York SAFE Act is the illusion he's trying to create, the delusion he's trying to impress upon people doesn't exist. It's very much like what Vice President Biden said about the 23 executive orders by President Obama. Even if you pass them all, it won't make anyone safer. Not a single person will be safer. And it's already been, the magazine, 7 bullets versus 10 bullets, it's already been struck down in court because it's not constitutional. But he wants to impress upon people that if you just give up some of your freedoms, if you just allow us to restrict you, you're going to be so much safer and you'll sleep better at night. Except that doesn't work because the criminals don't care. All he's doing is putting restrictions on law-abiding people, and he's putting it in really flowery language. And that just annoys me to no end when they say things like that.
Well, you're absolutely on target, and that's what makes you one of the individuals he would like to invite to leave New York. Earlier this week, in an interview, he makes it extremely pertinent and well-defined that individuals who are extreme conservatives don't fit with most New Yorkers. He says that and this is reading out of the great Pillow Talk paper, the New Buffalo, this is his particular comment. He says, if there are extreme conservatives, they have no place in the state of New York. He means conservatives who are anti-gay, meaning they don't support marriage equality, oppose same-sex marriage, opposed to abortion rights, and favoring legalization of assault weapons. Those individuals are extremists. Now, I have to ask you, sir, are you anti-gay?
No.
Are you against abortion?
I personally am pro-life, but that's But I'm also a politician that understands I have to represent the people in the district, and there are limits to that. especially like late-term abortion, which, the district isn't for. But that's where am I? I'm pro-life.
I'm quite certain that New York 22 is for infanticide. Isn't that the top thing they want to send you to Washington to do?
I'm sorry, what?
I'm quite certain that New York 22 is for infanticide. They just can't wait for you to get to Washington to make that legislated law.
Yeah. Maybe Cuomo would think that.
And now the last thing, the Second Amendment. Apparently you believe in the Second Amendment. He doesn't, and because he doesn't, you should leave. So where are you running for Congress?
Well, here's the thing I'm wondering about. And a lot of people have talked about what he said as in consideration of being a conservative and consideration of being a Republican, and saying I'm offended and I should leave New York, which people are already doing anyway. For 60 years, businesses and people have been leaving New York State because of the consistent policies we've had throughout the state, because the state's been so blue that we're not doing anything effective. And we see that all over the place. But that's not the thing. The thing I want to take on, and something I find very interesting that especially the media haven't touched on, what is Mr. Cuomo, Governor Cuomo, saying about liberals and himself? What does that statement actually say? That he's saying that liberals and the Democratic Party in New York State are closed-minded. That if you do not toe the line, if you do not believe what they believe, if you do not accept what they say verbatim, get out. If you have a different thought, if you come to a different conclusion, get out. There is no room for you. There's no voice for you. They don't want to represent you. They only want to represent someone who's going to do what they say. And this is from a man who in April of 2013, in a room full of the ultra-liberals, including the son of George Soros, and this was reported by, it's in the newspapers, give me a moment. I forget where it was reported. I'll get that in a second. It was reported he believes that what we need to show the nation in his push towards being president, that, government works. We just need people to understand big government works, and government can take care of you. Now take that thought in 2013 April that he said and put that into combine that with what he said today. Government's going to take care of you, cradle to grave, and if you think anything else, get out. That terrifies me.
Wow. Indeed. And to, not to belabor the point, but I want to go back to it because I think it's very critical for people to understand exactly that this is just not something that he threw together last night and said, hey, I'm throwing out my personal opinion. This is groupthink from the top down. These are individuals who have been prepared to lay out a course to take the U.S. to the next level of totalitarianism. As we've instituted socialized medicine, the next step is to nationalize businesses. But in this particular case, he's also speaking against those who have religious fervor. Your thoughts regarding religious liberty in the state of New York?
Well, by the way, I just wanted to mention it was April 14th, 2013. The article called Albany Machiavelli by the New Yorker. So just want to clarify where I got that quote from. But
thank you.
In terms of religious freedom, this nation was built upon the principle of one of the key reasons why we had the Pilgrims and everyone else come over to this nation, religious freedom. One of the greatest things that keeps millions of people trying to get into this country, legally and illegally, every year, religious freedom, to avoid the persecutions they have in their home nations, to believe in God as they wish. How can we ever come down on any group of people that have a belief in their God when that is one of the cornerstones of our nation? We have to support that. We have to believe in that. We have to nurture that. If we start eating away at our freedoms, if we start eating away at the cornerstones of what built this nation, like any other structure, it crumbles.
Now, many of us will sit back and say, well, you're being a bit hyperbolic in terms of the presentation of the ideal that the leader of the state of New York is setting out the marching orders legislatively and as well electorally amongst his people. And that presentation of a forced thought amongst the people puts at odds individuals who are individualistic, puts at odds those people who do believe in a God who protects life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. And without a shadow of a doubt, there are people tonight who believe that they might suffer for not jumping on that bandwagon and following it to its perfected end. Do you know the reaction of people in New York from those remarks? Are they similar to that line of thinking?
There's a lot of people who don't agree with Governor Cuomo on a lot of levels, from his support of Common Core to his support of the New York SAFE Act and his handling of the budget. People do not agree with him, and they do not see that believing in God, in owning a firearm or having a conservative view makes you tantamount to being evil, as he's essentially. And people are out there saying to themselves, what are we looking at here? And I mean, that's what the common person's saying, but he's not preaching to the common person. He's not targeting the common person. He's targeting George Soros. He's targeting the far left and their money to get him, not only to ensure that his position in New York State stays the same, especially with the prospect that someone like a Donald Trump, who has enough money to actually go toe-to-toe with him in the dollar amount, but he's also trying to make sure he has enough money to go for the presidency, I believe.
Yeah, and well pointed out. He and Maryland Governor Bill O'Malley have been touching the banisters that lead all the way up to the stairs of the White House. They do see themselves at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue in 2 years. And what better way to strike at the heart of the people who they believe support all the tenets of socialism, Marxism, than to give that rambunctious statement at the beginning of the year, well before the State of the State. We're talking tonight with Michael Vasquez, who is running for U.S. Congress out of New York 22, one of the most beautiful areas of the country, and so underutilized because of liberal politics. I want to ask you in regards to a issue or matter that's come up in the past few hours as a result of a major snowstorm hitting New York City. And I know that you won't represent that area, but again, it speaks to the power, the influence, and the access that individuals convey in terms of ideology. Mayor Bill de Blasio, who is an outright communist, he said it, he states it, and ran on it and won, basically ignored an area of the city of New York in terms of snow removal and virtually blamed it on a GPS error.